Chasing It Outdoors, right here on the Chasing It Outdoors podcast. This episode is brought to you by Shiver Outdoor and Archery, located in Leesburg, Georgia, 1461 US 19 South, for all of your hunting and fishing needs. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Chasing It Outdoor podcast right here on the Chasing It Outdoors Network. I'm Robbie. I am your host, and I had to get that in there because if you listen to the podcast, it was either with Terry Rom or Tommy Walton. I kind of forgot to mention whom I was, but then again, I don't know if it matters to anyone listening. But anyway, I made sure I got it in there that time. Today, we've got another really special podcast. This is going to be kind of cool. We're not necessarily going to dive into turkey hunting or deer hunting, but we're going to talk hunting. But more importantly, we're going to talk about what a couple of guys do and how they take their time and dedicate it to the lives of veterans and trying to help make veterans' lives better, more pleasurable, more relaxing, and at times fun when we go on these hunts that we're going to talk about. I am very fortunate. I got Mr. Eric Thomas and Junior Coker of the CJ3 Foundation here on the podcast. How are you, fellas?
Hey, sir, how are you?
I am good. This I'm going to go ahead and tell everybody this is take two. We had to take one, and for some reason the car didn't act like it wanted to record.
We weren't going to tell them.
Yeah, I know, but I just, you know what? I couldn't help it. Eric and Junior, hey fellas, y'all take a second and tell everybody a little bit about yourselves and how the CJ3 Foundation came about and why it exists. This podcast is nothing but about the CJ3 Foundation and our veterans. Mr. Eric, will you lead off with it?
I absolutely will. Thank you first for the opportunity and appreciate the introduction. Before we get into too much of it, we'll just talk about ourselves real quick. Because man, once I get going about the foundation, that's my passion. So I have a tendency just to go.
Well, that's all right. That's what we're doing here, brother. That's why we're here.
I appreciate it. So I'm Eric Thomas, I'm the director and founder of the CJ3 Foundation. For those that don't know, one of the things I need to correct is you said local. We're actually nationwide. We started out to be local, but this thing's been blessed and continues to grow, and so we're all over the place. I'm actually in Leesburg, Virginia, which is where I live, just outside of D.C. I work for the federal government during my day job, which pays the bills, so I can do this other stuff. And which, is funny because I go down to visit quite often. I get confused a lot because it's a long way to get from Leesburg, Virginia to Leesburg, Georgia, just to go from one Leesburg to the next. So I'm a 100% disabled vet with a service dog, and that's kind of what started some of this for me. But I'll give Junior an opportunity to introduce himself before we really get into it.
Okay, go ahead, Junior.
Like Robbie said, my name is Junior Coker. I'm the Associate Director of the CJ3 Foundation right here in Leesburg, Georgia. I'm an insurance agent by trade. That's how I pay the bills. And my other full-time job is Associate Director of the CJ3 Foundation. And all that entails. Good, bad, and ugly.
Which is a lot.
Yes.
Well, good. I appreciate both of you guys coming on and doing this podcast. And like I said, it's all about the CJ3 Foundation and what you guys do is give an opportunity to talk about the organization, what it is, why you do it, and continue to grow it. Hopefully, that's the goal. At least as far as I know, that's what we're trying to do is help better the lives of veterans all across the great nation that we're fortunate to call home.
Well, I appreciate that. And if you give me a moment to prop at the mouth, I can give you the one-over kind of elevator speech of what we are, just so there's a general understanding of who we are and what we do. And Junior, then you can kind of get into, especially when we get down to the last initiative, what really takes us down to Georgia. So CJ3 Foundation, first of all, kind of what does it stand for? The C stands for combined. It's a combined effort to help the folks we help. Joint, we help a large group of folks. So it's wounded vets, wounded first responders, law enforcement, and firefighters. So it's important to us to serve that underserved community. And the other thing for me is I've been all those things. And being a part of all those, I realize very quickly how underserved they are. And they are our heroes. You know, we all look for heroes every day. And we're looking at sports and looking at everywhere else. But these guys and gals are our heroes. Yep. So the joint stands for all them, and the three in the military, the three always stands for operations. And so combined joint operations is really what it is. That's what we stand for. And if you look at our logo, there's an American flag with a green stripe, a blue stripe, and a red stripe. The green is military, the blue is for law enforcement, and the red stands for firefighters and first responders. Kind of our motto is serving our nation's wounded heroes. We try to keep it simple, and we do that. Robbie, you got to find the couple of things you're good at. If you try to do too many things, then you're not going to be good at anything, and you're barely serving anybody. And so we had to figure out what we were good at, and what we wanted to focus on, and we originally started out with 3 and grew a 4th, and that'll be where really Junior's going to pop in, because it's really a result of some of the good work he was doing down there in Georgia. But the first thing we do is called our CJ3 Advocacy Initiative. And a lot of that is, honestly, it's just advocating on behalf of those wounded heroes when they need us. An example of that is I'm up on the Hill a lot with my job in D.C. And one of the things we can do is how do you affect mass quantities of wounded heroes? A lot of that is, it's not glamorous, it's not sexy, it's not any of that, but it's working on legislation to better their lives, better their treatment, or the services provided to them. Another example is we provided a service dog to the vet, and his place of employment denied him entry once he got the service dog. Well, that's against the law, and we went down. We got the media involved. We got legislators involved. We advocated on his behalf and got him back to work with a service dog. So it's all about advocating on behalf of the heroes we serve.
And two on that part, the company realized their grievous mistake, made a generous donation to the foundation because of it.
Good, rightfully so.
But they learned very quickly that we're going to stand with our people.
Yeah.
Their rights to be where they need to be with their
rightfully so, as they should have.
Initiative number 2 is our CJ3 Mental Health and Wellness Initiative. And I know people hear mental health and they kind of cringe, and to be honest with you, I probably would have before too. But we're not talking about, sitting around holding hands, singing Kumbaya, and or laying on the couch and doing the things you see on TV. That's not what we do. What we've done is when we send one of our, we call them our recipients, people we've selected, our applicants we've selected to go through our process. We selected, we have a mental health and wellness facility we've developed in Iowa. And we went around the country and looked at best practices. We looked at what Joint Special Operations Command was doing. We looked at what NHL, NFL, and some of these other organizations were doing. And one of the things we focused on is traumatic brain injury, PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. Because a lot of our recipients have those issues. I have those issues. I got blown up in Iraq. Over 250 pieces of shrapnel out of my body. We looked at what can we do to help these folks out in this environment. And so what we end up coming up with is we have a psychologist, Dr. Thomas. She kind of leads that program. She's a senior advisor for that program. We've got a chiropractor. We've got a gut health doctor, and we've got social worker. All these people converge and work with our recipients. And you go down there for a week and you get almost 4.5 months worth of therapy jammed into you. And we find that intensity is changing lives. So one of the things Junior will always talk about, and I emphasize is, if you want any of the other services we do, we make that a requirement. And of course, it's paid for by us. We fly you out there. We put you up in lodging. We take care of you. But that's a mandatory piece, because when I got when I went through my process, that was a piece that was missing that we identified, and we thought, what will make them more successful when we send them back home, or when we're done with them at home, or wherever we're at. And it's if we can fix them, if we figure if we fix their back, we fix their stomach, fix their head, then all we're dealing with is the demons of war, and we can kind of tackle them. And so we put a lot of work into that process. And it doesn't involve a bunch of meds. It doesn't involve that. You want that, you go to the grave with that.
It's quite the opposite. It's getting them off of the meds.
Yeah.
Getting them off the prescriptions of, okay, this hurts. Well, okay, well, here's a prescription. Okay, well, I don't feel good. But here's another prescription. And as I
tell
say,
your story.
Yeah, well, as I tell people all the time, unfortunately, we're in an environment where, you can go get a tooth pulled, and the first thing he's going to do is prescribe you some kind of narcotic. Our health industry is creating addicts.
Yeah, for sure.
So we have to change that part. But to what Eric was saying, so back in 2020, I was diagnosed with stage 3 cancer. During my treatments, radiation was radiating my head, messed up my mouth to the point where food, drink, anything I was trying to partake in was almost like it was rotting. So being able to physically eat didn't work. Right? And so I went over a month with no food, collapsed one day in the doctor's office. My doctor's office, and said, "Well, there's a hotel Phoebe over there. We're going to have a tube put in your chest in the morning and start doing bed for food."
Whatever it takes.
So after being on a feeding tube for the better part of a year, Eric kind of ambushed me. I had the distinct honor of a recipient right here from Georgia that was going through the mental health piece and service dog. So Eric kind of tricked me and talked me into going up, escorting him over through the process. Right. Well, I get into and meet Dr. Thomas and Dave, and the next thing I know, she's already had all my medical records, and my wife helped get ambushed, and so I went through the same process as one of our recipients.
However, the thing he's not said is, and the part we emphasize is, even our team members, our ambassadors, everybody that's part of us, it is a requirement that we go through it, because how can, it's only going to make it better and stronger. How can we put it and emphasize it, enforce it?
Right, and that was one of the things that I was going to add just a second ago. The fact that, which I didn't know Junior had gone through it, I had a good idea that you had here, but being that both of you guys have gone through this, you know that it works, one, because of your own personal life, and then I'm sure to some degree you were able to say, all right, we need to adjust this a little bit, we need to add here, take away there, so that you could better build the program.
All right, so to your point, so 2 days after I was there, I never had any issue going out with people and sitting down and having food. That never bothered me at all. But the recipient out there with, he was like, "Man, take a bite of it." I'm like, "Dude, I'm not good for that." He said, okay. We just kind of put it on a napkin, and I was sipping on water. And I was like, "Well, I think I'll try it." And that was the first bite of food I took in my mouth.
And it took coming from a vet.
Well, it took that, and it took coming from Dr. T. The treatment of going through.
For you with that, and I'm curious at this point, was it more psychological?
So this is going to sound like voodoo, okay? And we joke with our recipients about it sounding like voodoo. So the plan Dr. Thomas used, it's all auricular therapy, and it's brain mapping. Okay, so if she goes in and she figures out where the wire is broken, mine's big electrical circuit board, right? So if there's a fuse blown or something going on in your head, there's a way around it. Mm-hmm. So she figured out that way around that block. Was it to fool my mouth and thinking everything tastes like ice cream? I don't know. I don't know what she did. Imagine to tell you what she
it really
did.
don't matter.
But it doesn't matter, right? Those 2 months after being there, they popped two about myself. And I think about that. Wow. Now, I'm not telling you everything tastes great, but I ain't missed a meal since.
I can tell.
Right on. Right on. And I'm proud of every one of them, bro.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
But so for the people that are listening, Eric alluded to it. It's not a sit around and lay down on the couch and Dr. Thomas asks you how you feel. How you feeling today?
I'm great, man.
Right,
I'm great. I'm on the phone and doing a podcast with a couple of great gentlemen that I look up to and envy. So, I'm doing great, brother.
But most aren't that lucky, right?
Right.
So they don't. But here's the hard lift of what I did. I sat down. She put a set of earphones on me, just about what you got here. Some pads on my head, and I watched a movie for 2 hours. Stressed me. Lord, my stressed me.
It wore you out.
But yes, it did wear you out. But then she's got the several different things that she goes through in a day's time. And at the end of the day, you're absolutely exhausted. You're mentally exhausted because she's putting your brain through a workout, and you physically have done nothing.
Wow.
Well, let's talk about that real quick. So I'll go through the quick list. It's weird stuff folks that haven't been through. One, Junior's talking about is neurofeedback. Basically, it maps the brain, and it looks for areas where the synapses and things are not working, and it either remakes the connections, or it finds ways around to keep your brain healthy again. Think about your brain like a muscle, right? It's just looking for a way to work. The other thing you brought up was auricular therapy, and that's kind of we call it a little taser, but it's just a little device that if you look at the ear and you think back to the Chinese ways and things like that. Well, there's nerve endings that go all throughout your ear, and each spot affects different parts of your body, your gut, your leg, whatever's going on. So this thing will send little electrical pulses through those different areas of your ear to help correct some of those things. We also do what we call an ion cleanse foot baths, which I know Junior loves to talk about that thing because he was disappointed what he saw after his feet got in that thing.
I don't even know.
So basically, it's a little foot tub.
Okay, we're gonna find out.
Yeah. So she puts these salts into it. There's a little electrode that goes in it. Barbecue stuff, but what it does is it pulls your feet are the largest pores in your body. And so when you sit there, it's a 30-minute process. It's pulling poisons and things out of your body. Toxins that you don't know you have. So it'll go from clear tap water to look like sewage. I mean, you will literally see metal plates floating.
Well,
I'll show you pictures.
Yeah,
all right, now
there's a whole chart that'll tell you
what it's from, right?
What's wrong with you?
All right, I've got to ask this because I'm scared I'm going to forget about this question. Don't stop, Junior. But at least let me ask this question, and then if y'all want to answer it a little later, that's fine. All right, we've got one Dr. Thomas, I presume. About how many that church heroes, or first responders, can we adequately service? I don't know if you base it on week time, or month time, or at a time. Okay. And then I also want you to go into: is there plans for the future to get or create or find more Dr. Thomases so that we can broaden how many people we can help? And I say we as in we, like I got something to do with it, but
you do.
like you guys.
Actually, you do because you're a partner of ours. So you absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I'm fortunate to be a partner through my employment. But yeah, I'm just curious. I mean, is there plans and ways in the future?
Let's address that, Robbie. Let's get through this. Let's address that. That's going to get into a whole other talk. And absolutely address that.
Okay, I was just scared that I'd forget it because I'm bad.
We'll
don't.
That,
yeah, just ask my wife. She can tell you. I was thinking something else. Forget it 5 minutes.
Hey, look, a bird.
Yeah, squirrel.
Yep. So One of the other things we do is the EMF pulse electromagnetic field therapy, and this is basically a big magnetic mat to lay on. And I would recommend you don't take the cell phone on there with you, since you might not have even left on it.
Yep.
But what it's doing is basically putting magnetized energy through you. And to Junior's point, most of the stuff you're just sitting there laying, but at the end of it, you're exhausted. Another thing we do is we get an infrared sauna that you sit in. And I know that just sounds great, but man, let me tell you, that thing's hot. That thing will make you sweat. But once again, it's another thing to take the toxins out of your body. Another thing we have is a power plate. I just call it the jiggly plate. You get on that thing and it jiggles you all over, and nobody wants to see a fat guy on there, so I don't get on it very often in front of people. But it improves flexibility and bone strength and the muscles and all that, and makes you more pliable and malleable and all that stuff. We just added, to your point of the change and add and whatever. Yes, we do. We're always adding and adjusting and fine tuning. But we just added a hyperbaric oxygen therapy to our facility, right? And I mean, you're talking about like what divers and stuff do, and basically it's pure oxygen in a pressurized environment. There's a lot of benefits to that. And then, like I said, we have a chiropractor, and then with a gut health doctor, they do a DNA test that looks at what's wrong with your gut, and then they give you homeopathic stuff to fix your gut. A lot of us don't even realize that our gut's out of whack, and
my wife can tell you mine is.
Because a lot of our diets and things like that just aren't great. So that's a lot of what we do. It's a lot of natural, holistic stuff. And to Junior's point, I've seen this thing work over and over and over again. And I still I understand the science, but a lot of times I go, man, wow, it's crazy.
Yeah, I'm lost, dude. My facial expression over here. Yeah. If you can see me, I'm just like, huh?
Well, hey, Eric, I think we ought to blow their mind. Do you want to tell them exactly how the facility is housed? What it's housed in?
Oh, okay. I mean, yeah, sure. So I'm originally from Iowa, and so we lived in Virginia for a number of years. And my mom got to call and go back to Iowa and take a practice back there. And she's probably one of the few doctors in a 100, 200 mile radius. And so, there was concern from us kids when she moved back. Man, how's she gonna make a living if she don't get enough? Well, she's got a successful practice. She's doing phenomenal. But when they went back to a small town, they needed a place big enough to live in, but also run their practice out of, and they were struggling to find it. But there happened to be a local church for sale. And so they ended up ultimately buying the church, and they live in it and work out of it. And so it's a beautiful place, with 10,000 square feet, something like that. I don't know what it is. And half your treatment's happening right there in the chapel. So we kind of joke and say we send our wounded heroes to church.
There's no better place to do it. I mean, it's a whole lot better than going out to the local juke joint.
But there's another neat thing. Junior will really attest to this about. So a lot of people are like, why Iowa? This little town, Iowa, 4,500 people. The real thing.
I had that question. That question popped in my mind.
That's where Dr. T lives, and so it was easy to want to create this here because she's overseeing this facility, and that's where our other medical partners are and all that. But I will tell you this, Junior will attest. If I'm lying, I'm dying. This is going to be one of the most patriotic towns you've ever seen.
Of 3,500 people.
And
I can dig that.
It's really, if it wasn't for the winter, I think me and Junior.
I retire there in 2 seconds. I will tell you, out of any place in the United States, I'd retire. If it didn't get 20 below zero and it snowed 19 inches, I would be there in a heartbeat. It is.
They grow big deer now too.
Oh yes, they do.
Sorry, I just had to throw that in there.
Exactly. Yeah. But it is like you said, it is the most patriotic place you'll ever go to.
Out of all the times you've been back, dude. Out of all the times you've been back, how many meals you bought?
I think I'm up to 2. I think I've actually purchased 2 of my own meals.
Because everywhere we go, this town has embraced the foundation and loved veterans, loved wounded heroes. That everywhere we go, we can't go back there without people buying a meal or just wanting to love and take care of you. and and then they got this thing called Welcome Home Soldier Monument. And I'm gonna tell you this, they're partners of ours, and they're not ours. But the reason I want to tell you this is because everybody. So this Welcome Home Soldier Monument it rivals. I'm in the DC area, mind you, and it rivals monuments out here in DC. In this little town of 4,500 people, and it's got different representatives of all the different wars and all that. All these beautiful places on huge, phenomenal, beautiful land. And they got a wall out there. Well, every one of our recipients that were in the military that served, that go through, we get their name put on the wall at the Welcome Home Soldier Monument to be forever remembered.
While they're here, while they're living, not post, not after. This is while they're here. They have a brick on their wall under their perspective.
And that's emotional, man. That's pretty cool.
Wow. So it doesn't stay there all the time.
It does.
Oh, it does.
Yes, it's a permanent wall. It's
So
a brick. It's
right.
a brick on
Okay,
the
I thought you were saying it like it was only there while they were there.
No.
So
it's
if
there
Johnny
forever.
Joe goes and goes through the program, Johnny Joe's brick stays there.
His brick is there when he goes to get the private tour. They take him to his brick and show him his brick on the wall.
And it's there.
It's
from
there now.
So his grandkids
can go
Oh, yeah.
can go see it. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
while he's here, dude.
Dude, I got chill bumps, brother. I'm not lying to you right now. I have chill bumps. That is absolutely wild.
And here's the crazy thing too, man. There's 100 flags flying at that place right now. You pull up there, one of the first things you see is just 100 American flags flying.
It's
at
a
all
beautiful thing.
A town of 3,500 people. It is absolutely
Here's the other neat thing. So the town, they're right behind where Dr. T's office is, right across the alley. There's a historic home called the Kendall Place. Kendall Place belonged to, I believe, he was the 23rd governor of Governor Kendall. He used to live in that home, and so we're talking about a 100-year-old home. Well, the town owned it, and they were trying to decide what they wanted to do with it. When we moved in and started doing everything we were doing, they gifted the home to us. And so the neat thing about that is Governor Kendall used to help World War I veterans from that home, and here we are 100 years later, helping veterans again. And so we've been going through that home, updating it, refurbishing, remodeling it, making sure we put a lift on the back stairs. We get handicapped folks, with ability issues up the stairs, making a lot more ADA accessible and modernizing the house. And so this is where we put our recipients when they go through the treatment, which is right across the alleyway from our doctor's office.
Yeah, there's literally a dirt alley between back at the Kendall Place and yes.
Yep, four bedroom, 2-story historic home. Block home is beautiful. So
we just had the grand opening. What last August? No, July, August there.
And yes, and we've had some pretty amazing people. We had the Florida governor come up and see it.
Yep,
yeah, we've had senators and congressmen go through it and see it. It's drawn a lot of attention.
So I guess it would be safe to say that this is somewhat of a state-of-the-art facility type program.
Yes.
But keep in mind, we're a small charity. I don't want that to get lost. Like, we are not some large, out-of-touch charity. We are still a small charity. We've just been very blessed by partnerships.
And making tremendous headway bettering the lives of people.
Yep. As long as donations continue to roll in, then we can continue to do our best.
Well, Eric, if you will, kind of tell us about the future plans of expansion, if there's potential plans or whatnot, and then we'll get into an opportunity of having people, if someone wants to make a contribution, you guys tell the world how we can do that.
Absolutely. And if you wouldn't mind, Robbie, I want to go talk about the other two initiatives.
Yeah, absolutely.
The how we grow and how we. The third thing we do, and we do very well, is service dogs. CJ3 Foundation service dogs, and when we identify wounded heroes that need help, we look at what their lifestyle's like, what their personality is like, and we pair them up with a service dog and train the dog, train the recipient, and pair them up once again at our cost, no cost to the wounded hero, service dog, which I can tell you having one is a tremendous tool. But once again, you don't get a service dog without going through the mental health piece, because the service dog is a tool. It doesn't make you better; it sustains you, right? And so we figure if we send you through the mental health piece and then give you a service dog, the chances of success are a lot better.
Okay.
And I do want to say this, because it's another shout out to Georgia. We have a kennel that we contract with out of Illinois, in Monmouth, Illinois, CJ3 Kennels, and then right down in the old back in your neck of the woods in Camilla, Georgia, we've got Gus down there that we also contract with, and he helps us out with service dogs right down there.
Well, I didn't have a clue that we even had anything like that here. That's pretty cool. Do me a favor, take a second and explain a little bit to those of us that don't understand service dogs, don't have service dogs, or a service dog, how he's a tool or she's a tool. It's a tool, because I've been in restaurants or grocery stores or whatnot, and see an individual come walking through and a dog with a service dog on it. I mean, and I know that animal is there for a reason. And of course, I don't know that person's story, but there are those people out there that don't understand and would rather not see it. Obviously, that dog has a true purpose. I think this is a great opportunity for you or one of you to explain how that dog is a tool, why it's a tool, and why it's beneficial.
So I'll give you a quick example. And I've been very fortunate to be part of several deliveries of service animals. One that would probably always stand out to me, had a gentleman come down, go through the training with Gus. And my role typically is, after we leave Gus's facility, I try to put them in scenarios where them getting out of their home, like going to a restaurant, going to a retail shop to buy new shoes, or going to those places, put them in situations that don't necessarily come across all that well during the verbal talking, right? Mm-hmm. I put them through the paces, so to speak. So me and this particular gentleman are in a retail establishment, and we're walking around. And in there probably about an hour and a half. He just kind of stopped for a minute. Like, you all right? He said, this is the first time I've been out to a place like this in 3 months. I said, what? He said, yeah, I don't go to places like this. I'm not comfortable going to places like this. Just don't go to a restaurant, and then don't go out. And I'm like, man, really? I said, are you good being here? He said, I've never been happier in my life. We're talking about a four-legged animal, just pulled this man from a place that I'm not going to, wherever you got to go do your normal business in the Shiver outdoors, pick up some broadheads. Won't come in here, right? To walking around here for an hour and a half and feeling absolutely at peace and comfort in his environment. That's what a dog will do for a person that needs that extra piece.
That dude's going to Walmart just to go pick the dog.
Now he's out everywhere.
Did the dog provide him a sense of love for something else, or is he comfortable because the dog is protected? How does it work?
All right, so Linus walked around with his blanket, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, this dog is almost like Linus pulling around his blanket, right?
Okay.
He's got that animal there for various reasons. So let's say it's PTSD or traumatic brain. So the dog will respond to, if Robbie is about to have an episode, the dog will pick up on that. Your body puts off pheromones, whether you're happy, you're sad, you're mad, you're glad, right? Your body puts off those pheromones.
Mm-hmm.
The dog knows, being 10,000 times better than mine and yours might be, picks up on those pheromones of distress. The dog will take it and just talk. Essentially, most of them lean or do something to distract you from whatever episode you're about to have. Now you feel the security blanket part, right? Okay, so the dog is there as that backup piece, so that he knows that if he does, something triggers him, then the dog is there to break that potentially break that cycle.
Wow.
Well, Robbie, I can tell you this. I got a service dog named Matt, right? And so I can tell you firsthand that I have PTSD. I've got some physical issues after taking an IED. A couple of things that habit does for me. One, he watches me sleep at night. I have night terrors. The dog watches me sleep, and before I start having them, talking about the pheromones and all that stuff we just talked about, he can sense they're coming on before I even know they're happening, and he wakes me up. So I don't go through those. If I'm getting anxious because of my PTSD, because crowds are getting too tight around me, or I'm just having a bad day, and Junior knows this very well, because if you're holding a drink, go, or your cell phone, go, my dog will nuzzle my hand. He'll come up and just aggressively start nuzzling your hand to get your attention down to him, to pet him and make you feel better, take your mind off of everything that's going around.
Wow. Yeah, he'll break that cycle.
Yep.
He'll understand that you're about to have that. So he's going to aggravate you to the point, or almost frustrate you to the point that you'll stop what you're doing and like, Havoc, why are you continuing to bump me or lean or press on me? I'm already mad. What are you doing? What are you doing? Well, it breaks that. He forces you to stop what you're about to do. It's kind of like you got the good angel on one shoulder and the bad angel on the other. Mm-hmm. Well, this is the good angel whispering stronger in your ear than the bad angel.
See, I am so glad I asked that question, because I never in a million years would have been able to put those two together.
Yep.
And see, the other side of it, physically can help you. So, like the recipient we have down at the hut has mobility issues. Well, this dog will, if he gets down on a knee, takes a knee or two knees, gets down on the floor, the dog will literally brace himself for him to press on his back and stand up.
Yep. Havoc braces himself against my knee when I'm standing and learns because my left knee is bad.
Now, I know this is so off topic, but I gotta say it. I wonder if they could be used like addicts. Because being an addict is like all of a sudden you got a sudden urge to go do something, whether it be good or bad.
The real problem is what kind of environment would that dog be in?
Yeah. I mean, I get it. It was just right.
But to answer your question, yes. I mean, you understand those same dogs are walking around the schools now, smelling for narcotics and bombs. They're walking around the airport smelling for narcotics and bombs.
Now, Robbie,
go
ahead.
I was going to say, but if you had someone that really wanted to get their life straight, and they fought those urges that they couldn't control, I don't know if it was a good idea or a bad idea, but it just came to mind. I mean, if a dog can wake you up and keep you from having a night terror, which is awesome, by the way, don't get me wrong, I wonder if it could distract you enough to keep you from having to act on that impulse to go do whatever it is.
Potentially, the answer is yes, because that same dog could realize that if you were a diabetic and you needed to take your insulin, that you were about to have a diabetic episode.
Okay. Yeah, we'll be here all night long. It'll be midnight. My wife will be calling me, wanting to know where I'm at.
But I do want to tell you though, Ryan, one thing that you need to bring up, because there's misconception. So you do got pets, you have emotional support animals, and you got service animals, and there are a difference. And I like to talk about them real quick.
Yeah, go for it.
So just so you know, an actual service animal has all the rights that basically somebody with a wheelchair. They're like a handicap device, right? A disability device. So if a wheelchair can go there, the dog can go there. I get a lot of questions of, well, where does your dog not go? Well, he goes everywhere. Unless it poses a health hazard, that dog goes with me. Like that dog's on the airplane, that dog's up on the hill with me, that dog goes to work, the dog unfortunately is in the bathroom with me because he follows me everywhere. Mm-hmm. That's his job. And so they have all the rights that a piece of disability equipment has. There's, really the only couple things that pose a health hazard, or if the dog's not acting right and just poses a risk or acting fool, then that's about the only time and then I question whether it should even be a service, right? Those are the only reasons you really can deny them. An emotional support dog, I think personally it's a little funny title, because I think all dogs are emotional support animals. Because you come home, you smile at the dog, and it's happy, but at the end of the day, there's no real rights ascribed to them. They don't have the same rights as you see a lot of dogs with vests on. Doesn't always mean they're a service dog.
Okay.
So I say that just because I've had people go, oh, you ask if you can bring your dog. Well, that's not an option. You don't need to ask. I don't make a reservation at a hotel and say, oh, I got a dog. I don't have a service. It's different because they can't deny entry to that.
Okay. Well, now there's one more part to the CJ3
There's
Foundation.
one more part, and this will really involve Junior. So later on, as we build, and we don't want to outgrow what we do, and we don't want to go outside of what we do well, but this thing is kind of a natural fit. And so we ended up growing what we call the CJ3 Field Ops Initiative. And this encompasses all kind of the outdoor, other kind of activities that we do. And I'll talk about one and then give it over to Junior from we've got partnerships with different racing organizations. One of the things that we found is real helpful to these new heroes is giving them a place to get their adrenaline up in a safe environment. We kind of miss those adrenaline rushes from war or from being a cop or being, whatever, right? Those are all high adrenaline jobs. We kind of miss those environments. We need a safe place to do it. So we've developed partnerships to take some of these new heroes out racing and things like that. Have folks come on board that provides tracks, provides cars, provides things like that for us to go out and do that. The other one was we have an annual hunt that goes on in Georgia every year, and I'm going to let him hand it to Junior because he's been running it longer than we've been around. We've since assumed that, and doesn't really change anything because Junior's on our board.
Yeah. So since 2013, we've been bringing in. We started out bringing in 22 guys in. We've since realized that's too many for the goal that we want to accomplish with being here.
So,
yeah. So we've narrowed that down to a dozen. Sometimes we'll have 13, but 99% of the time we'll have 12 combat wounded veterans, male or female. Doesn't matter their abilities as far as being able to mobility issues. Doesn't matter. We have got very fortunate this past year. A local organization donated a track chair. For those who don't know what that is, it's a wheelchair on steroids. It's actually looks like it has paint tracks on it, and very, very, very quick and has a lot of power under it.
It's more fun than to be allowed.
You're right. It is. We're laughing because we all test drove it this past year around. So it doesn't matter mobility issues. So we have someone who's an amputee that doesn't have prosthetics. We can get them in and out of the stand now. We do utilize if the guy's able to climb the tree. We can do that, ground blinds. And then we have a special built trailer that people out of Texas built. The 16-foot enclosed trailer. Like a better word, it's got a tailgate on it. Like a rolling box line. So the veteran has the ability to drive into the track area inside, turn, harvest the animal, and the fun part for all of us who hunt is after the shot, all the excitement, and you get to actually go blood trail the animal, right? Which is just more part of the experience.
Right.
But now these guys get to experience of tracking the doe or the buck or the hog, whatever it is they've harvested while they were here, and have that experience without having to have someone carry them. So it's
Get some. I ain't gonna say more into it, but it's more into it.
It's more into it.
Things that they wouldn't normally be able
it's
to do.
independence, right?
Right.
It's independence. So we bring 12 guys in, and we do our dead level best to treat them like kings and queens while they're here. You know, you're a South Georgia boy, and you know, first opening day of deer season is opening day of dove season is religion, right?
Yeah, I mean, it should be a holiday.
It should be a holiday here, right? You're not, people's not going to work on that first day. Most people are not, right? So, you know, what we figured out is, you know, a piece that they're missing is getting out in God's creation and sitting in the deer stand that first morning. Hopefully it's nice and crisp and cool, and you literally watch the sun start to crack through the pines, and the animals start, you know, birds start chirping, and all that things that grounds you back to nature. Mm-hmm. And that peace that it brings. I know you are like me. One of the 99% of the reason you go to the deer blind is climbing the trees. You shut your phone off, and the world just stops. And you have that. You have that moment of peace. And if you want to argue with yourself in your head, you do that too.
Ain't nobody hear you.
Can't nobody hear you. You know, right? You fuss at yourself. That's what you're going to do. And you hash out whatever's going on in you. You can go home and be a better spouse because you're not wound up. You know, you're sensitive. But it gets those guys back grounded, and it gives them goals for something they might not have ever thought they would like to do. So it gives them something they can look forward to in the fall.
You got to remember for some of these guys and gals, they haven't pulled the trigger since local, since the military. We've watched it over and over again. It's almost an emotional experience.
Well, if I can,
go ahead. I know where you're going.
I am extremely fortunate to have been able to somewhat partake in, or not somewhat, I was able to partake in this year's hunt from an outsider's perspective, if you will. And first of all, thank you to both of y'all and Jesse and Trent and everybody else who's a part of this deal that, you know, allow my brother to be accepted in one of the guests of the hunt this year. But for me, I got to witness that. Okay. And here's why what you just said has meaning, and there's 100% truth to it. My brother has never really been a big deer hunter, even though he grew up around it with my dad and I. When I called him and asked him if he was interested, he was, but he wasn't really interested in that. And I don't want to say not the hunt part, but he didn't really care at that time. At least he thought
it was the harvesting
whether he was going to harvest the deer or not. That really was for him. Wasn't that big of a deal. Well, there's actually a video. There's actually a video of this on YouTube. If you go to Chasing the Outdoors, you can pull up Veterans Hunt. He shoots. You know, we hunt the morning, and we've got like 70 million deer all around us, and he was never able to squeeze the trigger that morning, and we actually found out why kind of later, but there was some scope issues with eye release and whatnot. We won't get into all that. But that afternoon, we finally have a doe that's at the feeder, and you know, he draws down on her. And I got that one. And he missed, but he was determined, or he knew he had got that deer, you know. And we go back and watch the video, and he missed, and the look on his face.
Well, truthfully, he apologized to you. I'm gonna say that somebody out there sorry for it.
Exactly. But right then and there, I mean, being able to see the look on his face told me that moment, that instance meant something to him. He could say he didn't care about shooting a deer or whatever. Bullfighting. Yep. Because the letdown on his face, and I can't verbally use the terminology that he used, but
the shivers and the shakes will
argue
otherwise.
Right. 20 minutes goes by, whatever it is, 30 minutes. And essentially, the same deer comes back, and I got that one. There ain't no doubt about it, Bubba. I got that one because it hit the dirt. Dude, for me, that was awesome to be able to experience with experience, sorry, the USPS man dropping off a package. We're actually at Shiver and closing today, but he's on the truck. But being able to see that actually happen with a veteran. Now, if it had not been my brother, maybe I'd have got to participate and been some other vet. But for me, it was extremely special to be my brother. And I would do it again if it was me or Jimmy John or Billy Bob or Miss whoever. I mean, I'd do it again in a heartbeat. But I got to experience exactly what you just said and watching him pull the trigger and it taking him back, if you will. You know what I mean? Because ultimately, when you go to training, and I'm not a military individual or I'm not a hero by any means, any kind. But when you go through training to go and protect and serve, I am sure that becomes a part of life. And when you get out of it, so to speak, that part of life is gone. Well, and there is an adjustment period, and there is something that you've got to learn to fill that void, if you will.
All right. Well, yeah. So here's the let you in on a little secret. That's one of the other reasons that we bring these guys in. So for most, and I'll just use Eric as an example. He's on here. He's been hurt. So let's say that Eric was hurt to the point that he could no longer serve. Whatever happened, IED, boom, he wakes up, he's in Germany in the hospital. And then he's shipped home, he's in the hospital, he gets out, he goes home. Well, if I'm a baseball fan. Anytime you've ever heard a Hall of Fame speech by whoever it is, he's not necessarily missing the game. What's the first thing he says? I'm going to miss the guys. I'm going to miss the team. Well, this guy just got plucked from his team that there was no ever a doubt that the guy in front of him or behind him would not take a bullet. Right. He just got pulled from that. He didn't retire. He didn't go out on his own accord. No. He got plucked from that, from his family. His
no choice of his own.
No choice of his own, right? So when the guys get out, they struggle to find that team again. They don't, it's not really, there's no, they feel like there's no options for it. So for us getting these guys together, we're getting these guys and they're around one another. And you and I can say, man, I understand how you feel. You don't. That's a ball-faced lie. There's no way you can understand how that guy feels. But if Eric looks over at Robbie and says, I know how you feel. I know what you're going through. Been there, done that. Wearing a t-shirt. Okay, cool. They swap numbers. Mm-hmm. So now you put that guy back in a family, in a group.
He's got a new team.
He's got a new team. He's got a new team that he can go out and do something positive with. And he knows that any of those guys in that team, and to the point of, if it wasn't your brother that you were with in the stand, the guy that you would have been with, y'all would probably swap numbers and still be talking today, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So he's got somebody outside of the military that he can call on when he's having a bad day. Because basically that's what we want, right? Mm-hmm. We want them to have a support system that is as positive an influence on them as they ever could be. And that's what we're trying to do there too.
Well, let's not fool ourselves either. You and I talk about this all the time. Another hidden gem is that people just think it's there just go. But we got what we call fire pit therapy. and it's a real thing. If you see that fire going, don't think that thing's going, just keep you warm. That's what it's there for. You'll be surprised during this hunt. We allow outside folks there on Thursday, all our partners and all that stuff to celebrate. But during the rest of the week, we don't allow outside folks to be there to give you heroes. Right. And the other guys to support and all that. Yep. We have to fight through. And I'll tell you, you'll be surprised the amount of emotion and conversation that happens around that fire pit.
Yeah, I can only imagine and the only reason why I say I can even imagine is because I know how many times I've answered the phone with my brother late at night, and he's at a time where he battled demons much more. They were much stronger, if you will. I don't know how to put it. Then, don't get me wrong, he still battles those same demons, but it's not near like it was. He's very fortunate to be married. He's got, a beautiful young girl. So life for him is really gotten better over the last several years. But I can only imagine some of the discussions and emotions that go on around that fire pit, because I know what kind of discussions that I've had with him at 1 o'clock in the morning. And I always try to be there for him, and I do that for anybody. It's just my brother that I can refer to, because that's who had to do it. But that fire pit therapy, when Patrick killed his deer this past month, it was on Saturday, and we got back and dropped the 2 deer off because we went up to the 2. I made it a point, dude, I'm going, because I don't want to be here for this, because it's not my place. This is that time for those guys. And so, yeah, it's real. I know it's real.
It's a really cool thing. Inevitably, what you have happen, you have these 12 guys come in. They're strangers. They're strangers to us. And they don't know us. They don't know any kind of expectations of what we may want from them. And they learn real quickly, because I make it a solid point. But I tell every one of them, we don't want anything from you.
Yeah, you're not here to pull weeds up the fire with.
You're here because I want you to let us treat you like a king or a queen. Just give me 3 or 4 days of doing that. That's all I'm asking. That's all I want from you. Is 100% relax. And
we couldn't do what we do if it wasn't for guys like y'all.
That's correct. I
Or
don't want
gals. I
anything.
should say gals.
I don't want anything from the foundation. Wants zero from you. I want you to just have a good time. This is what we owe you. Yes, this is what we feel like we can do to give back to you, so that we hope that it, as our initiative is the field ops. Maybe you hear me talk about baseball or something. You go, well, man, I've never been to a baseball game. Well, maybe you have the opportunity to go to a baseball game, or a football game, whatever you might be into, to get you out of the house and get you, back being outside
With your team.
Yeah, with whoever, right? And just to go out and do whatever is normal, right? I don't know if you have any anxiety or anything, but I couldn't imagine being at my house knowing I needed to go down and get the kids milk for their cereal, and was scared to death to go down because of a reaction I may have while I'm in public. Just refuse to go. I can't do it. I just can't do it.
But there's those that battle that
right now.
Yep. And what you guys are doing. I wish we could have a whole bunch of Dr. Thomases and
So be careful with that. Let's go into that with Robbie, because the other problem is the good thing about keeping it small is, one, this works just by nature of the relationships that's there. Like, we've been asked to recreate this somewhere else, and without the heart of that doctor and what she and the group of doctors there believe in and how they bought into the program, it would almost be impossible to replicate that somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So, to your question, how do we do more? Well, I'm going to tell you straight up, the real crass answer is we're a charity, and we can't do more without money, right? And so without donations, you want to help more veterans, we need more donations to send more veterans through. Junior, how big is our list right now?
We have 52 people that have went onto our website, CJ3Foundation.org. There's a link in there that you can actually fill an application out for the mental health services. And then there's also an app in there that you can fill out for the actual health. It's a requirement.
Mm-hmm.
But we have 52 applicants in there right now.
And I will tell you, the cost us, we have no problems with that. This cost us $3,500 per person to cover their food, travel, everything, their medical, everything. And so you start adding that up, they get, times that, let's just say it's just for mental health and wellness. That's 3,500 times, 52.
That's a lot. 200 grand.
Right.
That's a lot.
Right. And that's not somebody needing a service dog in there. Because I will tell you the other one. A service dog, right? If they need a service dog, remember I said they always got to go through mental health first. That process is $25,000.
Robbie's looking at me like I just slammed his finger in a car door.
Hey, but let me put this in perspective, though. I will tell you this, and I don't mean to keep knocking the VA, but I'm going to tell you this: they spend more than that on to big pharma.
Yeah.
And when you get get a dog, that dog's more healthy for you, and that dog takes care of you for years without all the side effects of some of these drugs.
Right.
So, yes, it sounds expensive. Yes, it is. And yes, it's an investment. But going back to your point, don't we owe these people?
Yes, sir.
You know, so I don't care. Okay, it's $25,000. Great. Let's go find 20. That's me and Junior's ideas. Let's go find it. But I don't care. I don't flinch when I hear it. Okay, cool. And I want you to understand when we're asking for money, I think this is a very important thing about the foundation. We do not get paid for what we do. We don't take any money. I'm a senior in the government, the deputy director, senior in the government. You know, Junior runs his own business. We do that enables us to be able to keep doing the foundation. We don't take anything. So, you know, 98% or 98 cents of every dollar at least is going that comes in is going right back out because we don't have the infrastructure. You know, I run the charity from my house in Virginia. Why? Well, I have a building that costs money because me and Junior will tell you if we have to spend $50 on something that's not directly veteran related, we will argue for 2
It's a
hours.
full blown argument over $50. No joke. I mean, so
because we go, you know, we could do it at $50 for a veteran,
right?
And so that's how serious we take every dollar.
And if you really wanted to be a fly on the wall, we got it in our head toward the end of last year that our website needed a revamp. It needed some modernizations.
It looks great now.
Right? It's a beautiful site, right? And that site was not cheap. And so when we found the number out, you know, of course he calls me and you know we'll have a 2-hour conversation. We might be off the phone for you know an hour to do our day-to-day job, and one of us calls him up, hey, you know, but what if we, you know, and it's no joke. No joke. It's probably 7 or 8 days of he and I back and forth. Yeah, overspending the money, just overspending that money. You know, and we were literally, you know, pen and paper, pros and cons.
It made us sick.
Right. But it's because, you know, we stand by what is a good deed. Well, simplification of that is a good deed is doing something for someone else without any expectation of anything in return. I'm talking about a piece of bubble gum or $1 million. There's no expectation, right? So for us to be stewards of that dollar, we have to stand behind that good deed. And, you know, when you see us with CJ3 Foundation gear on, whether it's shirts, hats, beanies, whatever that may be, we bought it. We went on the same shop that's on the website and bought the shirt.
I got one of them shirts.
You got one of them shirts, right?
Yes, sir.
So we purchase our own gear that we have. If you see us out and about with CJ3 Foundation stuff on, we purchased it because we, you know, and I got told the other day I was having a meeting with some guys. And, you know, they said, "Well, look, man, hey, y'all doing so well with this. One of these days, you're just gonna retire from your job and you'll just work for the foundation. The foundation pay you." And I said, "I will fall over dead first.
Wow.
Just not gonna do it because okay, so let's say that
Because
you know,
there's so many people. I'm
right, okay,
not starstruck, but I guess taken back. I don't know how to put this. I don't know what I am. I guess amazed or blown away because do you know how many people that would?
well, listen, okay, all right, so
Which ultimately would negatively affect the ability of the foundation being able to serve the next
so
guy.
you see the polar bear on the ice cap, right? And there's that sad music playing. All the polar bears out there suffering. We need to send money to save the polar bear. That polar bear's out there hunting.
Yeah,
right?
that's what he's
He
born
is-
to do. He knows
is-
what he's doing.
He knows what he's doing, right? But they want you to send $19.99 a month to save the polar bear. Well, how much money did you think that commercial cost? Because you got video equipment, sound equipment. What do you think that video, that 30-second or 1 minute video on the major network cost?
Enough to make him throw up in your mouth.
Right. So where did that actual money go? Did it go to the polar bear by the time that they spent, you know, the $50, $60, $70, $80,000 for the 30-second spot for a month? You know what we could do with 80 G's? Knock about half that list out.
Well, and we can tell you where every dollar. And we have a platinum seal transparency to show you that we have no problem telling you where every dollar.
Well, I think this is a perfect opportunity. We've been going a little over an hour now, and if we ain't careful, we could go another hour.
Correct.
This is a perfect opportunity for y'all to tell folks that are listening, and hopefully they're still listening after an hour. Where can they donate? How can they donate? How can they get a hold of you and whatnot?
Do you go ahead, brother?
So as I've done a couple of these podcasts now, and I tell everybody, I tell people, go to right now, if you're on your mobile device, go to CJ3Foundation.org. You'll make about two thumb moves. There's going to be a big red button in the middle of the screen that says donate. That's the simplest way I can tell you to hit that donate button. There's our email in the foundation. So if you want to email one of us, you can send us an email.
Because there's definitely some tax write-off, benefits or whatnot for businesses or whatnot. So if a business guy, was listening to this and he owned Johnny's Roofing, and Johnny said, I got several service members that were in my family that served. I want to help these guys.
He would get a letter sent to him with his tax deductible.
We're a 501c3 public charity. We give tax receipts. We've done 1099. We've done so we can. One of our successes is our partnerships, right? Our partnerships we have with you guys, and that allows us through those phenomenal donations allows us to be successful because then in turn you're not taking that. We don't have to buy those things. In turn, then we can use that money directly for veterans and send them to the mental health, and give them a service dog, all that stuff. So we love partnering with businesses because that enables us to continue our mission of serving our nation women and heroes.
Yep, and we're always doing events in our areas. We do a Whitetail Unlimited event here every year, typically in September. You can come out to those. We've got one of our ambassadors. Golf tournament up there in Harris area. He is known in his area for going to the restaurants and bars, and they'll do 20% off whatever the ticket, your meal ticket is, and they donate it straight to the foundation on a given night. But a lot of things, man. We're always out trying to promote the foundation and get word out, because that's ultimately we can preach to the masses. People don't understand why we do what we do, because we get asked a lot, why do you do this? I can only tell you, by the grace of the Lord, we put it on our hearts to do it, and we won't ever argue that fact, and we're going to continue to do this as long as we physically can do this.
Well, and there's definitely a purpose, and it's definitely beneficial. I can say that from a couple of different perspectives now, because I have been able to go to the dinner and tell folks over on Thursday night for 3 years now, and see these guys and gals. And
well, they're astonished at the support they've got there. And it's that little bit of time they've been there, and then you handle all of this stuff, and they're like, "Oh my God, where did this come from?"
Right. I mean,
why did these people giving me these things? And
the look of relax. Relax is what comes to mind. The word, the look of relax on their faces. But
it's a place they can decompress. The truth is,
yeah, absolutely.
Like, wow.
But now this year, my brother being a part of it and having conversations with him post, and him telling me what the hunt did for him was really personal for me, because it's one thing to see it on a Thursday night, but it's something totally different to talk about it after the fact, and him saying what it did for him, looking forward to next year, when last year he didn't even know if he was going to come.
But that's to my point right there. You just made a point. So what we're establishing in, I don't want to sound corny, but we all need a little hope, driven by some faith, right?
Right.
Okay. So if we make these little goals, okay. So if Robbie is our concerned person, okay, we get a little goal. What's Robbie's next little goal? We're going to give him an hour. He's going to do that part. So he gets you that little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. Go through Iowa.
Next you get a hunt coming up.
Yeah, or potentially he does qualify for that service animal. So a couple months down the road, well, you can get the service animal. So it gives you something to get up out of bed, and you're doing the old
crossing off the
days on the calendar, right? Till you get the service dog on that day. And then you go, well, okay, they've cordially invited me to the deer hunt, or I'm gonna get to go ride around in the race car. So it's another little goal. Well, we hope that we put enough of those little goals out there, those little nuggets they pick up, and they understand, well, I can do the same thing for myself. But what if in 60 days I'm gonna go whitewater rafting? I can do that now.
I can go get the milk for the baby.
I can go get the milk down at Publix for the baby, right? I can do these things of normalcy, right? That we take for granted.
The other neat thing, Rob, is we have team members, right? And these team members, so what we found is, out of all the people that go through Iowa, we call them, like I said, our recipients once they've been through it. When they go through Iowa, over 90% of them have asked to come back on as team members and support.
I was going to bring that up because there's not so many, but there's several guys at the hunt that were past hunters. Mr. Greg comes to mind that he's there to help new guys or gals, which is so cool.
So, so now we got them wanting to give back, right? And how do you measure success? I'd say that's a pretty good success story. The people we help now want to go out and help us help them.
Yep, that would be a good metric of measuring success.
In your wheelhouse. So, we've had guys that come down to the hunt, and they've gone to some of the Warrior games or the Invictus games, some of the service games somehow, and they're for archery. And then, Jesse is the archery coach, and somebody will go, "Hey, Fred told me that he was down at the hunt with y'all down there here a while back. How do I get to the hunt?" This dude's in California, or somewhere out in one of the other states, or even from Australia. We had some Australians here.
Man, he talked funny too.
He talked funny.
You were giving him a hard time at lunch on that Thursday.
But hey, he's so driven by this because he has seen it from both sides, just like now you have, right? From being the hunter to being there as somebody of support. He's wanting to do the same thing in Australia.
Oh wow!
Yeah, he's wanting to start something in Australia very similar to what we do, because he understands the value of getting the band back together, getting those guys in that team atmosphere, get them outside, get them put their feet in the dirt, right? Get your fingers dirty, and get back to nature. And there's something else besides popping a couple of pain pills, drinking a fifth of Jack Daniels for easy pain. There's something better. There's a better option.
For sure.
I will challenge anybody that's on the fence about whether they want to be involved, whether it's partnerships, whether it's donations, whether it's come out and give us a test ride. Me and Junior both tell you, and Robbie, you know this. You show up and you see what it does, you're hooked. When you see the faces and when you see what it does to these guys and gals, like you're immediately hooked.
I can tell you this without a shadow of a doubt: as long as employment allows, I can go. I will not miss a hunt. I am not a service member of any kind, but I will not. At least a Thursday, as long as I'm invited.
So here's the thing. So just like you, I'm a civilian. Okay. So one of the cool factors for me, and what charges my battery, and it's my return on my investment, is I get to see a civilian almost go through that same process that veteran is feeling, that recipient that is there. You're going through the same emotions that he's going through, whether you know it or not. So when I see one of the people who are partners with us that just write a check and they've never been out, but all of a sudden you talk them into coming out, and then they'll pull you to the side and they're crying. They got tears running, and they go, "This is the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my life," and they're 100% at that point sold.
I know I am.
They're sold on the process, because now they see that the gratitude that's on the face of the recipient, how humble they are, and just the shock and the awe that these perfect strangers that we don't know now, because you heard me in my talk, MC the thing, do all the other stuff that goes along with that. But I tell them, welcome to the family. You got one now, whether you know you needed it or you wanted it.
Right.
You're welcome.
Yep.
You're
You're
in.
a part.
You're in.
No question asked.
Yeah. You can't write a check to get out of this, bro. You're here. But so you get to see the civilian buy in, and then you get to see the recipient veteran buy in, and then they go telling, because they'll go in their mind before they leave that table that night. They go, I know somebody who needs this.
Yes. Yes. Well,
that's how the list grows. That's how the list grows.
And what I've said it, I mean, I don't know, 20 times now it feels like, but what y'all do, what y'all have done, is truly amazing. Being able to see it from the outside in, so to speak, was extremely eye-opening. And like I said a while ago, good Lord willing, I will be in every one of them that I'm invited to.
You have a standing, you have a standing invitation to anything that we do. You know that.
What y'all do is truly humbling from a civilian standpoint. So I can't imagine what it feels like from a hero standpoint. I just, from the bottom of my heart, and I know that I can speak to Wade and Shiver and all of the other partners, thank you for what y'all do.
Couldn't do it without you guys.
Thank you for what y'all do. And I hope that there's some folks that listen to this and say, all right, I want to be a part, even though I may not be able to be there. Click the donate button, send an email saying, hey, what can I do to donate or sponsor or whatever. CJ3 Foundation.org is the website.
Yep.
I know Junior's on social media.
Yep.
Mr. Eric is also on social media. There's a CJ3 Foundation Facebook page.
Yep.
Y'all take a second, go find that page and click the like button and the follow button, and just
they can message us there if it's easier. They can send a message. Typically, it's Eric or I work on social media. They respond back. I wish we could get the notifications on our phone. So there's a bazillion ways for them to contact us.
There you go. You can find them on Facebook. You can find them on the CJ3Foundation.org website. I'll let you guys close it out. We're gonna end it here. We're about an hour to 20 minutes in almost. And but from a civilian standpoint, thank you for what y'all do. It means the world to me to just be able to witness it. And I think you should also throw some love towards Trent and Jesse that aren't a part of the podcast, but have at least a big part of the hunt. But I'll let you guys close it out, and y'all take it from here.
Junior, that's your area, man. I'm gonna let you run with it. And I just, from me and overall the foundation, I appreciate Georgia has become a big part of the foundation. All the way over to, we've got some good relationships all the way over to Warner Robbins that's doing a lot of stuff for us. So Georgia's really representing, and you got a great representative there because Junior's right there in Leesburg near Albany. So just a huge thank you for all Georgia does and continues to do, and hopefully this helps develop some new partnerships.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Eric. So just on behalf of the foundation, I know we talked a lot about the hunt, but I want to emphasize the hunt is just one of the 4 things that we do. Eric and I arm wrestle over what's more important than mental health of a service animal. I know he's grinning now. I can see his face on camera. He's grinning because he knows we do. But I implore anybody who's listening, hit that donate button if you can, because as we told you, every bit of your money, 90% of it is going to go to that veteran. Please help us change the lives of our veterans, and in doing so, your life will be changed. I guarantee you'll get a bigger return on your investment than $50 that you may donate. I promise you that. But yes, anybody who wants to be a partner or a sponsor, reach out to me. If you can't get me, get Robbie. Robbie knows how to get in touch with me. The partners like Shiver Outdoors. We got Bargain Liquidators here. Mr. Dale, that Riverfront Barbecue feeds everybody one of the nights. If feed a family of 4, you understand when you're trying to feed 60, it's a pretty sizable donation, right? You mentioned Jesse and Trent. Jesse and Trent have, the three of us have for over 10 years now have been bringing guys in. Couldn't do it without them. They're a very intricate part of the field operations part of. The hard work they put in is amazing. In fact, Jesse still gives back. Like I told you, he's an archery coach. Don't feel too bad for him. He's actually in Hawaii. He's been there for almost a month. So he's got it rough, but he's
Don't
out,
tell him.
He's out there. We've got recipients directly off of some of his people that he's met over the years there. Trent being the local guy here, farm plantation manager. But we couldn't do this without the support of anybody who may be listening. All of our couldn't do this. We're eternally grateful. Love you guys for what you do. Appreciate you for bringing us on. Love doing it. Yeah. Do it again anytime.
I'm glad to be able to do it. And again, like I said, thank you guys so much for listening. Standpoint. I know there's some of you out there that can agree with that. For all of you that are listening, y'all go pull up the CJ3Foundation.org website, the Facebook page. Show some love. If you're in a position right now where you can't donate, but share it anyway. You may not be able to, but you may share it, and somebody sees it from your share. There may be out there that can donate or whatnot, because you are truly making a difference. I'm saying it because I've seen it. I've been fortunate and blessed to be able to see it even from a community standpoint. There is a small, short video on YouTube from Chasing the Outdoors from the past month. I didn't do a great job of getting everything involved into the video. I did get all of Judy's speech, but you would have fell asleep watching it because it was 56 minutes. So I had to narrow it down. I did get a little bit of the track chair in it. And,
hey, in my defense, it's because there's so much stuff given to us, and I'm trying to make it fun to give the guys, and I'm trying to give all our sponsors their due. So yes, it's a little breathy.
Yeah. Well, next year I'll do a little better job of trying to splice some of that in. There is a turkey hunt coming up that get to partake in, and I'll get the video hit.
I'll be down there to see you for that one, Robbie.
Yes, sir. Well, I'm looking forward to it. Maybe this video will be put together a little bit better, and people can kind of get a really good idea of what the CJ3 Foundation does and what it brings to the table and why it exists. For all of you all listening and still listening at this point, we thank you. We thank you. Remember to put God first and keep chasing.
Amen.
All right, we're live. Nobody died, and we're good. We made it.
So I appreciate it.
Yeah. Hopefully somebody hears it. Maybe
hey, it only takes one to make it worthwhile.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I mean, I'm just saying. So, well, yeah, it's all worthwhile. So I thank you for letting me participate. Dude, I know we keep saying it, but Robbie, we appreciate y'all's buy-in. You and Wade have been awesome. Can't say enough. I mean, Junior was talking about y'all before I even knew who y'all were. Now I know why, and appreciate knowing y'all.
Yes, sir. Well, I am fortunate that I get to ride the coattail of Wade because I'm just an employee, but I'm thankful and very thankful to be able to be part of that opportunity. So we'll do this again. I'll get it spliced up, and uploaded. May get it tonight, but if not, then it'll be a couple days.
Let Junior know, because he'll let me know. I'll make sure I share it out on our channel as well.
Okay, I certainly will.
Got what, 42 members in it, something like that. All my social media stuff we share that.
Wait.
You get it pushed out.
All right, Mr. Eric. Well, I'm gonna hang it up here. Dude, I really appreciate coming on and doing it. Hopefully it goes somewhere. Hopefully it makes a difference.
Yeah, appreciate y'all. Love y'all.
Love you, man.
Bye, buddy. See ya.
Bye. That is a purple ball.